Ladies and gentlemen, today Hank is going on a journey to answer one simple question. Is the RTX 5050 the worst graphics card of all time, or is it actually pretty good? To achieve this feat, Hank and Frank are going to build the most powerful PC to ever house an RTX 5050 and will then run it through 10 different games ranging from AAA titles to competitive shooters to prove once and for all that even with the worst GPU ever made, Hank is such a sweaty virgin that he can get a victory royale in Fortnite and the MVP in Marvel Rivals. Let's get to it. So before we get started, let's introduce this disgraceful product. Now you're probably sitting there screaming, Weenie Man, why is the 5050 so bad? Well, where do we begin? Comparing it to a 2-year-old RTX 4060, which everyone hated by the way, it has less CUDA cores and performs substantially worse while running less efficiently. It also uses older GDDR6 memory, whereas the 5060 and above use the brand new GDDR7. It has 8 GB of VRAM when you can get a more powerful B580 with more VRAM for the same price. But all of those things pale in comparison to the price point, mate. $250 MSRP for one of these things brand new is an absolute scam, given you can get a much more powerful RTX 5060 or an RX 9060 XT 8GB for an extra 50 spankers. Hardware Unboxed did a review on the 5060 and 9060 XT compared to the 5050, and it ran anywhere from 33% to 40% faster. Now, if they brought this to the market and said, hey, we finally have a budget graphics card for $150, great! NVIDIA is no longer an AI shill and might even care about budget gaming, but they clearly designed this card for 2 reasons. 1, to throw into pre-builds hoping unsuspecting parents will buy this for their children, or 2, to make the RTX 5060 look better, because outside of that, it makes no feasible sense. But let's take the price point away from the card for a second. Say that your parents buy it for you for Christmas or a birthday, a homeless man trades it to you for a sandwich, or you see one of these lying at the bottom of the garbage. Is it really that bad of a card? We are going to answer that today. We snagged the Gigabyte 3-fan design, not the best looking thing and slightly smaller than Frank. No RGB or anything like that, just a simple black aesthetic, and we got it for the MSRP of $250 off Amazon. But if we want to test this monstrosity to see if we can be a Fortnite demon, or play impossibly hard games to run such as Black Myth Wukong, Doom the Dark Ages, and even Microsoft Flight Simulator, we are going to need to build a PC, mate. But we ain't building your grandmama's crappy PC from Best Buy. Oh no, 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 no. We are building the most powerful PC ever created to hold this pathetic excuse of a card. That way, Jensen and NVIDIA have no excuse for its performance. Starting off with the motherboard, and we have this snazzy looking Asus Prime 790p Wi-Fi. So yes, mate, given that everyone hates the 5050, we are continuing the hate train and going with Intel. We got 2 of these motherboards open box off Amazon for $110, mate. It didn't even come with a box, just the board, a 3D printed IO shield, and the Wi-Fi antennas. It's not an awful motherboard, 3 M.2s, USB-C, decent rear IO. She'll get the job done, and she better be up for the task because we are pairing it with the 13900KF. We got this bad boy off Amazon for an incredible $269 back in May of this year. We purchased a few of them, and the last time Hank featured it on this channel, people obliterated him in the comments. Now, I'll admit, when it first came out, it may have had some slight issues of exploding and destroying your entire PC. You know, nothing bad or anything, but BIOS updates fixed that, and this thing is actually a beast. 24 cores, 32 threads. The CPU actually broke a lot of overclocking world records back in the day, getting up to 9 gigahertz, but unfortunately it will not be powerful enough to pair with the 5050, so there will be some serious CPU bottlenecks in this video. What? I am joking, mate. We could have paired this with a CPU built by yo mama and it would destroy the 5050. Moving on to the RAM, and I actually found this sitting in the bottom of my underwear drawer, mate. No idea how I got it, no idea how much it cost. I assume it came with the bundle from Newegg many moons ago, and with a cheap aesthetic only a father could love, the Patriot Viper Venom 32GB DDR5 kit clocked at 6,000 mega transfers per second. And just to make sure we have no bottlenecks, we went extra sweaty with this one and got a CL of 30, mate. Ultra fast timings for an ultra fast RTX 5050. And looking at the specs of this PC, mate, we may as well pair it with an RTX 6090 in 2 years time. What are we actually doing putting an RTX 5050 in this? The storage, we have this 1TB SK 4K Hynix Gen 4 stick. Again, we found this in the bottom of my drawer. I think I pulled it out of a laptop, so no idea of the price of this thing, but if we didn't use this, we would just use our good old reliable Kingston drive. You can get either of these for around 50 to 60 bucks off Amazon. They'll get the job done. Pretty much any Gen 4 drive that's over 5,000 megabytes per second will be golden for your PC build. But wait a minute, why is this Pepe the Frog building this board? Where is Hank? Ah, there he is, the cheeky bugger. He was probably out rolling around in the grass again. If you're interested in what this dog does during the week, check out our week in the life of a PC flipping dog video after this. It'll be linked at the end of the video, but let's get back to this all-star lineup of computer parts. We've got Hank. Frank.
You disgust me.
Pepe the Frog.
What is that?
Our completed Z790 32GB 13900 KF motherboard.
Nice.
Our Apivia Prestige 800 watt 80 plus gold power supply. Tier C on the PSU tiers list. 66 bucks on Amazon. Our go-to for literally every build. We should have gone with the 1000 watt version or this ROG Platinum 1500 watt PSU for the 5050. I don't think 800 watts is going to be enough, mate. I am joking, but in all seriousness, this CPU runs hotter than Hank after a trip to the groomers. Mate, look at him. He is literally a model. So we are going with this good old reliable Thermalright Frozen Notte 360 Black ARGB AIO around 50 to 60 bucks on Amazon. Insane value for an AIO, and we've already got it mounted. But where are my manners, mate? Let's introduce the case, but before we do, let's give Frank a little pet and body slam. Get wrecked, mate. We have the Sama SV60 from Newegg, 99 bucks brand new, comes with 7 pre-installed fans, 6 of them being intake, so the temps on the 13900 KF should be divine. It's all powered by an ARGB fan hub that runs through a switch to the front I/O. It also has a USB Type-C and 2 USB 3s. It's a seriously nice case, but unfortunately, they scammed the pants off us when we bought it. Well, technically not Sama, Newegg, mate. They had a promotion that literally said buy one, get one free for 120 bucks a while ago. We purchased it on a previous video we did many months back, and so did a lot of people watching, and it turns out in very small writing, the get one free was a pack of 3 fans. Absolutely disgraceful, mate. Newegg, you can shove it where the sun don't shine. In saying that, right now for $99, it's a good value case. No Infinity fans though, which hurts my soul. Ah! But mate, we are wasting too much time. Let me get this dirty towel that we use to wipe Hank off when he rolls around in poop and a bit of hocus pocus, and boom, baby! The board is in and all wired up. We are the great Houdini. I was going to use my magic powers to put the AIO pump on, but I know you all like watching me glop on the thermal paste. So let's just put a little X marks the spot on like this. Actually, this 13900 KF is a hot baby. Just a few more lines, then a bit of this and a bit of that, and my God, mate, what have we done?
You cannot be serious!
Anyway, for God's sakes, remove the protective sticker off the pump or Hank is going to expand in length. Start spinning faster and faster and faster and... Alright, mate, the pump head is on. Let's remove the protective sticker, and Katy Perry is your old daughter. You are good to go. And now, Sheilas and fellas, is the moment you've all been waiting for. Insertion of the worst graphics card ever invented by the greatest PC building dog that's ever lived. I tried to get Hank to rest his paw on it, but he refuses to even touch it, and I don't blame you, mate. That thing is gross. Let me know down below, though, if you actually have a 50-50 and what you think of it. I'm sorry that I'm pooping all over it. We haven't even tested it yet, mate. But before we throw it in, we are going to give Hank a little pet with the finger pointer because it feels like heaven to him. Just look at him enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
And then find the top PCIe slot and just yam this baby in with no regard for human life or the $250 price point of this beluga whale of a card.
I am a surgeon!
Way too easy, mate. What do you think, Hank?
I hate it here.
Great stuff, you ugly glizzy.
What?
And no, these are not my words. Someone commented that in a previous video. Poor Hank. Throw in your 8-pin PCIe connector. These are 16 bucks from Okanos off Amazon. The link is down below. And then let's go turn this thing on. It's time to benchmark. Here we go, dude and dudettes. We've got the 50-50 box on top, Frank to the right, and Hank lying down on the left, and he is looking at me because he wants a finger pointer pet. Fine, one more of these, mate, and then it's time to blast off. And look at that, mate. What are the odds? We got a post on the first try. It's in the mean, lean Team Green fighting machine colors. The AIO is looking sexy, and the 10 fans are looking exquisite. Changing it to all white, and it is looking phenomenal. And Hank is literally falling asleep. The 50-50 has put my wiener to sleep, ladies and gentlemen. What a mess of a video. In all seriousness, though, this PC is looking absolutely fantastic. I loved curved glass designs, and the Sama case is beautiful. A dream to cable manage in, and even though the Glizzy is still falling asleep, we are loving this build. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, surely you are not selling this spec'd up PC with the 50-50, and you are right, mate. We are throwing that thing in the trash and throwing in the RTX 5070 that we got for $530 open box from Micro Center, baby. It's the PNY ARGB edition, and it looks lovely. If we go and analyze how much it cost to build this PC with an actual decent 5070 GPU in it, all up, it cost us a mouth-watering $1,331, which isn't bad for an i9 5070 PC with these specs. But obviously in the past, we somehow built a 5070 PC for $1,000, mate. So go watch that video after this to see if you prefer this bad boy or that one. The good thing about this PC, though, is it has an Intel i9 in it, and people love seeing i9 written in the title, so it should be a good thing to flip. Just make sure the first thing you do, if you're using the 13900 or 14900K, is update your BIOS to make sure it doesn't explode. So with all that said, in this monolithic structure of a PC built and ready to go, it's now time to answer the age-old question: is the RTX 5050 the worst GPU of all time, or is it actually great for 1080p gaming? Let's get to it. I think you're going to be surprised. Here we go, mate. Time for the 50-50 to prove all the haters wrong. And keep in mind, we're recording all of these benchmarks using the encoder on the 50-50, so there's a chance without the recording, the scores would be even better. But anyway, mate, to give it a fighting chance in the beginning, we are starting the benchmarks out with a 10-year-old title, the most popular game of all time. That's right, GTA 5, but the remastered edition. This is a 1080p card, and we will test most of the games at that resolution, but this is a 10-year-old game, so screw it, mate. We set it to 4K with the graphics cranked balls to the wall. Heck, it even had ray tracing set to max, and it was averaging just under 100 frames per second, using about 6 gigabytes of VRAM, and it's running great, mate. It had awesome 1% lows and very few stutters. If I was a GTA 5 player, this 50-50 absolutely crushed it. What a terrific start, but it's time to throw the 50-50 in the fire with Black Myth Wukong. We are a broke boy, so we downloaded the free benchmark tool for this game and set DLSS to quality, no frame gen, and graphics on medium with resolution set to 1080p. This game is very hard to run, but on these settings, the 50-50 handles it with ease. We go through the entire benchmark and get an average of 88 frames per second with a low fifth of 62, so very smooth. And look at this, mate. Only 5.3 gigabytes of VRAM used. That's it. I'm returning the 5090 and keeping this card. This is crazy. Alright, mate. Hank is not messing around anymore. Time to end this thing's life. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 will surely destroy this thing, right? Right? Wrong. 1080p high-end settings, DLSS set to quality, and no frame generation, taken off from New York Airport. And mate, we are at just over 50 frames per second averages. Ideally, you are looking for around 30 frames per second on this bad boy, so this is pretty incredible. There was surprisingly very few stutters. The graphics look great. Here we are flying over New York and Central Park, and it's running amazing. Mate, I thought this card would be struggling to run RuneScape. What the hell, LeBron James? Okay, surely it can't run Indiana Jones, right? All I hear is, Weenie Man, 8 gigabytes isn't enough for Indiana Jones, Mate, first of all, I've not met a single person who has ever played Indiana Jones to completion, and no one has certainly asked me to benchmark it for them. But secondly, and more importantly, we have the game set to 1080p medium settings with DLSS set to quality, no frame generation, and the game runs great. It actually looks really good even at this resolution. It's smooth running over 50 frames per second. Even when we played it in the jungle, it was still over 40 frames per second, mate. Unreal stuff. I'll eat my words. This card is actually a 1080p beast. Moving on to another extremely hard game to run. It's Doom Eternal, and when I opened it, it was automatically set to 4K nightmare settings, so it took me about 20 minutes to change it to 1080p due to lag. But once we managed to change it to high settings, DLSS set to quality, and path tracing off on 1080p, we jumped into the game, and once again, it played great, just over 70 frames per second, great 1% lows, very playable. I'm not a huge fan of this game, but if I was, I would have no problem playing with this card and recommending it to a friend. Great stuff, 5050. Moving to another game that I've been playing on my 5090 for the last few weeks, it's Ready or Not, a great SWAT game that I highly recommend you play. I'm used to playing this on 4K, balls to the wall, everything turned up with no upscaling on Hank's dream PC, so let's see how this looks on the 5050 at 1080p with graphics set to epic and DLSS on. And mate, once again, it plays really well, over 80 frames per second. Honestly, it was really good to play. Hank's team got glitched at a door, so he had to go clear out the tunnels on the border to Mexico all by himself, and even with the 5050, Hank went in there by himself, took everyone out, and completed the mission. Very impressive showing from this thing and from the Glizzy. Good job, boy. Time to get into competitive multiplayer action, which is what everyone says this card is made for, and we are starting with the finals. We are loving playing this game right now, and at 1080p high settings with DLSS set to quality and no frame generation, this card once again crushes it. Over 120 frames per second, great 1% low, smoother than a bowling lane. Our first time running the finals using a light fellow with a pistol, and we are able to get a cheeky few eliminations throughout the game. We lose it, but we get a total of 8 eliminations, and I enjoyed playing as this manlet. Once again, great stuff, and I am very surprised, but let's keep it rolling. A brand new version of Rainbow Six Siege has come out called X. I used to grind this game hard with my mates back in Australia about 8 years ago before I moved next door to a micro center in the good old US of A, so I haven't played in a while. But classically, it's been a very easy game to run on PC, so we will set it balls to the wall graphics at 1080p, and once again, the 5050 crushes it. Over 200 frames per second, very smooth, and we still got it, mate. A couple of sneaky eliminations from above with Sledge, and we finished with the MVP in our first game back. How are we so wrong about this card, and why did we just spend 2,000 bucks on a stupid 5090 when the 5050 is completely fine? Next up, we play Call of Duty Warzone, and I assumed it would struggle here, but 1080p, ultra settings, DLSS set to quality, no frame generation, and mate, over 120 frames per second, so smooth that we were hitting sniper shots like it was nothing. The gameplay was so good that despite me being cheeks at this game, I ended up in a 1-on-3 going for a cheeky win, but of course I choke it badly and get destroyed once again. But overall, it was great gameplay for Call of Duty, mate. I loved it. And now we are down to the final 2 games, and our goal at the start of this video was to get the MVP in Marvel Rivals and a victory royale in Fortnite. We are starting off with Rivals, and we are of course using Hank's waifu Wanda. He loves her so much. We set it to 1080p high settings with DLSS set to quality, no frame generation, and we turn shadows off, and look at this, mate. Absolutely crushing Marvel Rivals. It's a tad under 100 frames per second, but extremely smooth, great 1% lows. I should mention the thermal right AIO is keeping the CPU around 65 degrees in all games, despite the 13900 KF being hotter than the sun, and even in Firmark software that can run the CPU at 100%, it just goes to a tad over 80, so great stuff there, thermal right. Hank goes on an absolute rampage in this game, 27 eliminations, the next closest is 19, and of course the Glizzy gets the MVP on his first try with a 5050. This card is on a generational run right now, but this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Fortnite. One try to get a win. Can Hank do it? 1080p performance mode, so DirectX 12, everything set to low, but epic view distance, and Hank's jaw hits the floor. The game is getting well over 230 frames per second. It's unbelievably smooth. The CPU is staying under 80 degrees despite it going well above 70% utilization for most of the game. Now, I know this isn't a GPU intensive game on 1080p, but even still, mate, I've seen a lot of graphics cards do a lot worse on these settings. As per usual, we are taking souls in a bot lobby, playing against a bunch of 10-year-olds with no thumbs. We get to the end of the game riding around in our Lambo and pull up on the final 2 participants, missing every shot on each other. We jump out and have about 20 minutes to eliminate both of them, and we get it done, and boom, baby! Victory Royale with the RTX 5050. Happy days, mate. We have accomplished our dream. 10 games with the 5050, which was crushed at 1080p. I will eat my words right now. This card is a beast. So what is the conclusion from all of this? Well, it's still a terribly priced GPU at 250 bucks. The best price to performance GPU that you can purchase right now in the United States is the 9060 XT 16 gigabytes at $350. Get that if you can, but even spending the extra 50 bucks for the 5060 would give you a much better performance. But if you see that the RTX 5050 drops under, say, $200, maybe to around $150, it's not a bad purchase at all. And even if you were given this as a gift, stole it from a homeless person, or found it in the garbage, mate, it's actually a great 1080p card when you take the price out of it. And as I said before, if you want to record all of the games you're playing and upload it to YouTube, this card does it with ease. Also, keep in mind, we didn't even use frame generation. It would have made the FPS much higher, although sweaty Reddit virgins are screaming watching this video right now that I mentioned the use of frame generation. So with that, in conclusion, the 5050 is a bad value card for $250, mate. Save the extra $100 and get the 9060 XT 16GB if you can, but if you get the 5050 for a much better price, or if you're given it as a gift, it's a great 1080p card. Don't let the PC elitists bully you, mate. Now get out of here. Me and the weenie love ya. Goodbye.